You know, I'll never forget that moment. It was one of the most traumatic and shocking moments of my life. It was like seeing a father, like, attack your brother. Not like it, that's what it is. It was the night after the fast of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av last summer. And it was a very hot time. After that night, I went out to the front gate. I had heard there was some type of protest being staged. Remember, this was just literally about a week before the forced deportation, so the level of tension was very high. And what they had done way before I got there was created a human barrier right across from the main front gate of Neve Dekalim, and the purpose of that was to stop the incoming army vehicles non-violently, because the vehicles were bringing in supplies to set up the evacuation camps. Rabbi Avner, all this time, maybe for 10 minutes, was on top of the Jeep with a megaphone saying very kind, polite words that all added up to is stop it and go home. I was standing in the front right headlight of the Hummer. Next to me was a young man. Rabbi Avner was saying, leave, because he was standing in front of the Jeep and wouldn't get out of it. And he kept saying, go, and the yeshiva student never was rude, never touched Rabbi Avner, and just said, you're not my rabbi, and I have a different rabbi than you, who says that I should be here non-violently, using my body to stop this evacuation, which is against the laws of Torah. This yeshiva student has his back to he's blocking the vehicle and has his back to Rabbi Avner, whose feet are about his shoulder level behind him, and was up above him with a megaphone telling him and other people just to go away. In a flash of lightning, in a thrust of violence, something that was so shocking, I couldn't even film it. I'm a reporter, and I had filmed some pretty shocking things in my life, and certainly in Gush Katif, and been in Amona since then. He did this. All of a sudden, in a downward thrust, he thrust down like this from behind with no warning, grabbed this polite yeshiva student's from behind like this. He came like this, like pushed his ear, like slammed his ear down into his left shoulder, correct, and then put his mouth, like literally like a suction, on his ear, and at the top of his lung, I'm thinking the man will never hear again, screamed at him in Hebrew, you don't listen to the rabbis, you don't listen to the rabbis. And I'm trying not to be at all, angry, and I'm just trying to duplicate what I saw. It was much more severe. He was red-faced, violent. I didn't know what to do. I was 1 second away from grabbing the rabbi, although that naturally would go against all my instincts, because I thought that he might take a next step. I mean, in karate, you take someone's head from behind and wrench it like that, you can easily do some serious long-term damage. My immediate concern was whether this kid was going to be, maybe, God forbid, have a broken part of his neck. I was shocked. At the time, I was very protective of rabbis in a different space. I was very protective of this man, and I tried to get all the reporters not to put pictures up. I said, don't do this. It'll be bad for us. People should see such a thing. I'm someone who grew up in America, and I worked on Wall Street for many years. I was a secular a Jewish person, and maybe 10 years ago I started to get religious. And one of the most important things, of course, is to have a lot of, we call it kavod, but respect for rabbinical figures. It's one of the most important things in our religion. And thank God it was something that was very instilled in me by the wonderful rabbinical leaders that brought me back in America. So when I saw this event, my first reaction, and my reaction for many months, was protection. That I felt that he must have done it, it must have been okay, maybe I didn't understand the circumstances, and it doesn't help, and I really was very protective about this. Yet, the reason I went to Gush Katif in the first place was because I felt, after studying it for months, that it would be a security nightmare for the Israeli citizens. Yet I felt it was just better for everybody if this would just be water under the bridge. But recently, when I saw that my greatest fears were true, that missiles would be raining from the areas we left, like drunken people we left, on Sidderot, on even Haifa, I said to myself, I can't be silent anymore. The leaders and the rabbinical leaders that helped them stay in power and supported them have created a situation where terrorists have been brought to our borders and militarized. And while every thread and aspect of my soul wanted to keep this quiet for the rest of my life, between me and God, so to speak, I felt that I had an obligation to my people to expose this truth and let people decide whether or not they still want to follow people of this nature.